everyone, it's Joe Jacobi here at the Eco Expo with radio talk show host extraordinaire WGOW's Jeff Stiles.
What up?
Hey, thanks for
Joe.
Yeah, it's good to see you as well. So here we are at the Eco Expo. Jeff, you've kind of had your finger on the pulse of this green movement, or trying to get this going here in Chattanooga for a long time. Here we are in 2009. How do you sort of see Chattanooga's progress coming along?
Late, but catching up. I mean, when I started doing talk radio in '92, the environmentalism was one of my favorite topics, one of my pet topics. As a matter of fact, I was criticized quite often by the regular listeners, who, of course, were generally conservatives. Most talk radio listeners are, for A, being an environmentalist, B, talking about it as much as I did. We were kind of there at the very beginning when the whole Vision 2000 process began. We were there when they first started doing the river cleanup. I remember very well the river cleanup and its launch. And you know, we were the environmental city for a brief, shining 2 or 3 years when Dave Crockett was on the city council or city commission, I think then, and then it just kind of went away. I think the business community was scared of getting that identity going out there and getting that reputation, because they thought it would scare off manufacturing. At that time, we thought that was still where it was going to go, and we've seen it turn. And we know we're I think we're the tip of the spear now, really, in the Southeast, maybe other than Asheville.
I think that's right. You know, I just came back from California, spending 2 weeks out there, and one of the things you notice out there, you know, we associate California with really being on the front edge of this curve.
Sure.
But at the same time, when they got into it, they were very regulation driven. And now, if I sort of look around here, there seems to be more drive, not so much by regulation, but more by innovation, or we now know the effects on the bottom line.
Sure.
So in those things, I mean, is that part of what's sort of
kind of a pull instead of a push into it? And I think that does work. As a matter of fact, I think we around here are far more than in California. You have people who are going to buck up against any sort of governmental mandate. You see it in virtually everything. I mean, you know, Tennessee with no state income tax, all kinds of things of that nature. If the government says do it, you have some people who just plain won't do it, whether they agree with it or not, because the government tells them to. And so I think this is definitely the way to go. I mean, just explain it, make it make sense, remind people that conservative and conserve, it's the root word, and it makes sense, and kind of remove that co-opting that the far right wing did on environmentalism, and reclaim the word, you know?
As I walk around this expo, and first I'm a little bit struck by the size of it. It probably wasn't too long ago that you could remember you could fit the movement into one of these booths.
Oh, it was a conference call.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally was. It was Denny Haldeman and me and to about 3 or 4 other people, you know?
And now, what's interesting is, as I walk around, these aren't just people who've slapped a green sticker on their business and said, we're green. A lot of these people are promoting memberships to, you know, that they've been verified. They've had independent people come in and look at the way they do business. How does that make you feel when you kind of walk around the room and just sort of see the girth of what's happening here?
It's wonderful. I mean, for a first-time event like this, I am absolutely stunned and amazed that they've got this much participation. The number of sponsors is amazing. Though, yeah, again, the fact that I've come to how many, you know, events have I come inside this hall, and for some of the silliest reasons you can imagine, and for something like this, it's just it's really breathtaking, just the. As you said, you know, the consumers out there today are keenly aware of greenwashing. They don't want to get taken for a ride, and they want to make sure that people are for real. And what makes me happy, as much as anything, is that when you got these younger folks that are coming here, they're pushing these products. They don't know who I am. They don't know who the other older, gray-haired environmentalists are around here. This is new blood. This is just what they're doing, you know.
Which I think actually kind of takes us into what I find the most interesting part is that are we being driven by trying to get a result, or really is it going to be a bit more beneficial for us to kind of be driven by a process or a change in thinking?
I think it's all things at once. I think you have young people who are just plain coming up demanding that certain things be done a certain way. You have new blood coming into the area from other parts of the country who are going, what do you mean we don't have, you know, curbside recycling? You've got to be kidding me. And then you've got people who are actively searching. A lot of the businesses here would have 10 years ago, a decade ago, would have told you that there was no market for it. Or it's that same thing like the VCR or the microwave. Who's going to be that first wave of people to get out and buy it and pay that exorbitant price before we get the price point down and make it affordable? And now everybody's just kind of just jumping in with both feet.
And I guess part of that, or at least what I've, in my short education into this, especially here in the Chattanooga area, is that people seem to be finding the low-hanging fruit, that there is a lot of low-hanging fruit that kind of gets you involved, engaged in the process. It's not like, let's go out and start putting solar panels on every house.
No.
There's a lot of low-hanging fruit out there.
There really is. Well, I mean, have you seen the boat? I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, that's about as cool as it gets. An electric boat. I don't have to put fuel in it. I don't have to put oil in it. You know what a boat is? It's a dry hole in the water you throw money into. And
you just explained kayaking, Jeff.
I know to a large degree. Only I put myself in that hole quite often, unlike you. But I mean, that's the kind of lead that people come in, they get excited about that, and then they start looking around at the rest of the stuff too. I mean, who at this point doesn't want a hybrid car, really? And so it's just you hook them, you get them in, and then they find something else.
A lot of time it's like going on a diet. You know, if you lose 5 pounds, you begin to feel better. You begin to walk up a flight of stairs, with better breath, and you're feeling better. Putting on, your clothes are getting baggier, so you have this incentive to kind of keep going.
And you know you're doing the right thing. I'm just telling you right now. I mean, there's a lot of the products, a lot of the services in here that when you're done and when you're over, you may have paid a little extra money for that green approach. In many cases, you would not have paid any more money, but you just may feel better about it. With me, I mean, it's my conscience drives me to a huge degree, and a lot of folks around here are picking up on technology, like I said, that they would not have picked up on before, and it's all happening just kind of osmosis. It's just all happening at once. I don't think it's really being pushed by one particular place, not by the president, not by the mayor, even though both of them talk it up. I think it's coming from the people.
Well, and that's such a big part of it, is that anytime you have a good idea, no matter where it comes from, you have to transplant it so at least it really does feel like it's bottom up and not being pressed from top down.
And I tell you, you get the community leaders and the various neighborhoods around here. You get them sold, and then of course the keeping up with the Joneses thing begins to happen. They see, dude, next door, I know him. He's going places. Look what he did with his house. Oh, I need to look into that. Let's face it. We can use jealousy. We'll use jealousy and greed as a weapon.
Been a big part of the American way
absolutely.
For a long time.
Use it to our advantage.
Yeah. Well, listen. He is Jeff Stiles, WGOW Talk Radio. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
That was great.
Good to see you guys down here.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you down here too.
Hope to see you on the river.
Yeah, me too.